Okay. Everybody here? All right, let's do this. Everyone quiet it down. That means it's time to start. Okay, welcome everybody to tonight's training. I see some new people here, which is awesome. So if it's your first time attending a live training, welcome. This is our Pointe corporate office here in Utah. We also have an office out in Rexburg that we have access to. So we do trainings out there as well. But tonight, I believe we have everybody tuning in either here live or remote on Zoom.
I think Rexford's good there. I'll take that.
Okay, maybe we're doing something else, but we are recording this. So if you have recruits or friends that you want, that you wish were here, it'll be on our YouTube channel. You'll be able to rewatch it. So, my name is Theron. I'm operations director. I handle all the stuff that you see coming out at you on Slack. And if you're like, what's Slack? I don't know what you're talking about. You're the ones I'm trying to get a hold of. So make sure you're looking at Slack. We'll talk about it. So summer is here. We have a rep out selling in Virginia right now. He started on Monday, sold 2 on Monday. We have sales on the board. So it's, yeah, his name's Dustin. And we're out there rolling. I just mentioned it. Check Slack. So make sure, first of all, make sure that you have Slack on your phone and that you have logged in. If you don't know how to log in, talk to your manager, because I'm sending out messages this week, especially. I've been going a little crazy sending out messages to everybody because we need people's badge photos. I need to finalize your start date, make sure you're solid on when you're arriving in your area, because we have got housing getting booked right now and like finalized. So if your paperwork says you're getting there on the 10th, but you're actually getting there on the 8th, you're not gonna have an apartment. So kind of important that we have that information lined up. The badges are important because that badge photo that you send me, we have to print your badges before you start. So those we have to get those now. That same picture is gonna go on our website dashboard, so you can go on and see your stats and see that you're a top 10 rookie and killer. So I need your pictures. So please make sure you're checking Slack as often as possible, like multiple times a day, because I'm sending out a lot of messages to people. And I'm not hearing back from a lot of them, so make sure you're on there. All right, knocking gear. We are getting all of the gear organized: jackets, hats, shirts, binders, sales slicks. You're gonna have a charger, your company card, and your badge. All that stuff's gonna be in your knocking kit, which we're putting together now. So if you're here in this room today, I assume that means you're local. If you are local, you're gonna be picking up your own kit this year here at the office. Like a packet pickup before like your marathon race. Okay, I want you to come get your stuff. I'll sign it off to you and I'll know that you have it, and we don't have to worry about it being the wrong size or getting there late, and you'll have the stuff you need when you get out to the sun. It's not a huge bag. You can put it in the luggage if you're flying, but it's easy to just throw in your car if you're driving. So the last training you attend here before you head out for the summer, make sure you get that bag from me. If you are not here and you're on Zoom, then we will either get it to your manager to take out to you, or we'll ship them to you. All right, we got some more trainings coming up. A week from tonight, we have a really exciting opportunity. It's going to be a mental toughness training by our owner and president, Gabe Cheriton. Gabe's going to be here in person. So same time, same place next week. And this is going to be a training to help you get through the hardest stuff you're going to face this summer. It's really going to be a valuable training. It's not the X's and O's stuff, but it's more up here. So you're not going to want to miss that one. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a second. Then that weekend, next weekend, we have a leadership training retreat that we're going to be doing with just our managers and team leads. And so that's going to be at a lodge here in Colville, Utah. And we highly encourage every one of our leaders to be there. We're going to be imparting some very important information about your logistics of of the summer of team logistics, obviously the most important stuff we do right before we launch. And then March 27th, 2 weeks from tonight, we'll be here again for our general training. I'll give it to Parker from here. Parker.
Sweet. Thanks, Darren. Okay, so next announcement is there's a couple of markets that we are still hiring for technicians. So these are like service pros. And their role is basically to service the jobs that you guys sell. So they're like the first impression to the customer on the service side of things. And sales obviously is not the right fit for everyone. So if you have a friend that you think that would like a job like this, some basics just so you can kind of sell it a little bit is average earnings for a technician is about 15 to 20 grand in a summer. We provide housing for them, and they get a truck, and we pay for their gas the whole summer. So there's very little costs for them. It's very low risk. And again, if you have a friend that you feel like sales may not be the right fit, but you'd love to have them out, that can be really valuable to us to have solid technicians. We're pretty staffed in some of our locations. In others, we're a little bit light right now. We're kind of ramping. So they may not work in the same spot that you do. So don't set that expectation for sure, because we'll probably send them to a spot where we need them. But anyway, any questions on that, on the technician opportunity or what that looks like? They still live in our housing. They're part of the crew. It's very fun. It's less, maybe mentally grindy like what we go through as salespeople, but it's pretty physically taxing. Like they're up earlier than we are, and they're servicing homes all day, and get a good shoulder workout, sweeping the webs down, shoulders and traps. So anyway, that's the first thought. Second is next week is going to be a treat. So if some of you guys don't know him or haven't met him, but Gabe Cheriton, as Theron was just talking about, is one of our partners. He is a senior partner at our company, one of the founders of Pointe Marketing. He's amazing, one of my heroes in my life. Just like lives his life really intentionally in all the important ways. So he's going to be giving us a personal development. He's going to take an hour next week and talk about the mental side of this job. Obviously, in these trainings, we're talking a lot about like the skill set and the what to say, and we're hammering that really hard, which is extremely important. But this job is like 80 to 90% mental. Like it's very staying positive through adversity, through rejection, that positive self-talk, stuff like that is extremely important. I wanted to just show a cool video that I actually saw in the last day or two to kind of tee up just this idea of what Gabe's going to be talking about. So I'm going to show that real quick, and then we'll get into our training.
Houseplant needs everything to be perfect to thrive. Needs the right water, right sunlight, needs the right soil content, minerals. It needs to be positioned in the house, just the exact spot, too much sunlight or too little sunlight. And it also needs to be talked to very gently and with tender, loving care. Field corn, on the other hand, you can take a seed of field corn, drop it between a crack in the sidewalk, and it would burrow down for any ounce of energy, and it would rise up and stalk wood-like fashion and just start producing. Literally hundreds to thousands of things coming to it, cereal, oil, feed for animals, grain. It all doesn't produce. What are you? Are you a houseplant or are you field corn? Because we're looking for field corn.
I love that. Do you guys know who that is?
Coach Harbaugh.
Coach Harbaugh, yeah. He's had a really successful career being an amazing coach, and that wasn't super easy to hear, but will someone maybe raise their hand and just summarize what he was talking about? That's up towards the front. Maybe heard that better. What are the two things he was comparing?
Houseplant and field corn.
Houseplant and field corn.
And then, yeah, maybe by definition, like from what he said, what's the difference between a house plant and field corn?
Houseplants need the ideal situation, they need to be talked to, supported, cared for constantly. And
Yes.
ones just reproduce wherever they are.
Yeah, so think of a house plant like, has to be kind of babied, right? It has to have the perfect amount of sunlight, attention, kind of soft. Yeah, soft plant. And, field corn is the opposite. It is like, it'll grow through concrete, cracks, whatever, like plant it somewhere, it'll grow, it'll produce. And, so the main thought, just to tee up next week, is like, we want you guys gritty and tough, and we're doing all these trainings and we're teaching you these things. And day one, it might be raining. It might be, you might be in a neighborhood where the HOA Karen lady yells at you and posts on Facebook like, Quentin's in our neighborhood, he's a bad guy. And Quentin's like, what the heck? This wasn't in Parker's switchover training. How am I? So there's a part of this job that's mental, like 80 to 90% of it. And you have to understand that and start making peace with it. Like one of my favorite ideas with this job is this mantra that's called make peace with the desert. This job is the desert. Like sometimes you're out there and it's like, where the heck is the oasis? Like I'm getting my teeth kicked in. Where's the next sale? And you have to kind of make peace with that and lean into it. So anyway, Gabe's gonna be, I just wanted to like tee that up for Gabe next week. It's gonna be a fun thing to talk about, and he's very qualified, done a lot of hard things in his life, and that's what next week's gonna be about. So, okay, training review. So this is again skill set stuff. Who remembers what we talked about last time? There's a hint. Rate card. What is the rate card?
Price sheet.
Yeah, it's the price sheet. So every market is gonna have something that looks like this, and it's basically when it comes down to it, you get to the end of your inspection, you're gonna show the customer the price, right? And I'm gonna do a quick review of that, and then tonight our goal here is gonna be, we're gonna be talking about switchovers, which is gonna be awesome. So this is gonna be quick, but when it comes to rate card, we're gonna review just the process real quick. And then I'm gonna show it, and then we'll get into our new content. So when you're explaining the rate card and you're transitioning, like to show it, you want to say something like, you want to explain the idea that we come 4 times a year and that we're breaking it up into monthly payments. So that's how, regardless of where you're at this summer, that is how the customer will pay us, is they will pay for it monthly and we will service their home 4 times a year. So that's what they get if you sell them, is they get 4 pest control services, and they can call us in between the visits if they see bugs. So you explain that, then you say, let me show you how this works. You get up next to them and you're gonna use this as a tool to explain the discount to them. So you're gonna start with their monthly and you're gonna explain to them, okay, for a home your size, if it's 2,500 square feet, this is gonna be X amount per month. And then you're gonna do your price drop. So you're gonna say, usually the first one's gonna be a little bit more. It's usually gonna be, you know, $300 or whatever, depending on the rate card. And then you're gonna do like a discount price drop to make them feel like they're getting a deal, right? Which they are. They are getting a legitimate discount by buying through you because you're in the area. And then you're gonna do that. You're gonna separate the distance out a little bit, and then you're gonna close. And the first close is gonna be kind of a softer one, trying to get like a soft commitment, and then you're gonna basically move them onto paperwork, okay? So I'm gonna show this real quick. If this is new to you, then you need to practice it with your manager. Hopefully this is just a review to you, so this will kind of just like give you another example of what it looks like. So Karter, I'm actually gonna have Karter help me with the switchover training, so I'll have him come up. And Karter's gonna be my customer. And yeah, so we're at the end of an inspection. I will do like an urgency line, and then I'll close the gap and show you price. So, okay, so yeah, Karter, anyway, it sounds like this may be a good fit for you. Like I said, if you would work with me on the timing, just because my trucks are in the area, then I would do this for a discount for you.
Okay.
I'll show you the price. The way this works is we come 4 times a year and we break it up into monthly payments. So you just pay for it monthly. Okay. So let me show you what that looks like. So your home is 2,500 square feet, you said. So the monthly for a home your size is $60.
Okay.
And then usually the first one is 259, as you can see here.
Mhm.
I would do it for just $100 if you'd give me a shot.
Okay.
Are you guys gonna be here the next day or two?
We should be, yeah.
Okay, awesome. I would just need to grab some information and then I can reserve a slot. What was your first name again?
Carter.
Okay, perfect. Cool. Boom. That's the. Any, just questions on that process? Just like following through or using that framework there on rate card? Main takeaways, I guess, in watching that, anything that stood out or that you guys want to kind of work on as you're working on rate card? Anything? Yeah, Kim.
One thing I noticed is like, it is so simple. And I think a lot of times when I get the rate card, I get nervous because this is the point where it's like, now it's your money we're talking about.
Yeah,
So I like try to complicate it, like smooth it all over, and it just ends up sounding way more complicated.
yeah,
So that's what I'm really focusing on is simple and just like a simple, straightforward close at the end.
love that. Thank you for sharing that. That's really good. Right, when it comes to other people's money, you'll be tempted to feel like apologetic. And that is not the vibe you want to be very confident and feel like, hey, I've built enough value to justify asking for this for the customer. And so I need to be really confident. And then really simple, like rate card, as you practice it, this needs to be the simplest part of the sale. Because when it comes to people's money, like when you think of your own money and you're like being sold something, if it sounds complicated, then it sounds expensive. Usually those are like synonymous. Complicated sounds expensive, but simple sounds cheap and reasonable. And so you want to stay really simple when it comes to your rate card. So it's urgency line, explain conceptually that we come 4 times a year. You pay for it monthly. Let me show you what it looks like. Use the rate card as a tool. Get up next to them. We come for your monthly for a home your size, it's just X per month. The first one's usually a little bit more. I'll do it for just this if you'll give me a shot. And then again with the body language, it's weird if I close from an intimate zone, right? Like being like, does that sound good for you? You gotta like separate your distance. That'll make it feel more natural. So like, okay, so yeah, I'll do it for just that price if you give me a shot. Will you guys be here the next couple of days? So separate that distance and then close it from there. So cool. Any last questions or takeaways on rate card that you guys want to talk through?
I like that you kind of prepped them before you handed them the rate card, because you don't want them to be like caught off guard and just be overwhelmed by all the numbers.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we come out once a season, and we just break it up into small monthly payments. I'll show you what that looks like.
Yes. Yep.
That was really good.
Cool. Thanks. Yeah. Urgency plug right before rate card, explain concepts, and then you're going to get into kind of the nitty gritty numbers right next to them and then break the distance. So. Okay, so we're gonna move on to switchovers. I've got Karter. Actually, we're not gonna do this. Okay. I'm not gonna show this one. I'm just gonna explain it. Forgot this was a thing. You oftentimes in a real situation, Karter might give me an objection there. So I might close to do that thing at the end. Like, will you guys be here the next couple of days, Karter?
Yeah, do we have to do 4 services though?
Yeah, so he might give me that objection. So what do I do if he gives me that objection? Empathy, tailored response, close, just as we've taught you. Jackson, will you read what would be a good response to that objection if you get that?
Yeah. You want to start to emphasize?
Yeah, just read the whole thing through.
Yeah, no worries. Have you ever had pest control before?
Okay, customer says no or yes.
Yeah, so we just ask that you try us out for 4 seasons. It's much more effective that way and just leaves a more lasting result than a service once or twice a year. Plus, it's nothing long-term. It's only till next spring. Could you be here tomorrow morning or would in the evening work better?
Okay, awesome. Sometimes you've already asked this, so this may not be applicable, but usually.
Say like, remind me. Have you
Yeah.
ever had a service?
Remind me, if you had a service or you haven't had this done, right? That's, and then boom. Tailored response, close, and you're just gonna speak to that. So the logic here is if someone wants to do it just one time, you get people who get them right to the end and they'll say something like this. Well, it sounds good, but like, can you just do it one time before the summer? We don't wanna do like a subscription type thing like you're pitching me. And the logic for that, and if anyone's sold here, they'll like, conviction wise, like they'll vouch for this, but the product, the chemicals we use and the stuff we use only lasts like 90 days. And so yes, it'll work for a season, but then like in 3-4 months, you'll be calling us. And so like what we're trying to get you on board for as the customer is this idea of like passive peace of mind, don't have to worry about it. So you're almost gonna like explain it like I just did to you guys, to the customer, to give them the good logic, and then you're gonna try to close again and ask for their business again. So I'll share that logic and at the end be like, so yeah, I would love to earn your business, Karter. If that works for you, if you were willing to give me a shot just for that first year for the 4 treatments, you know, we'd love to get this done. You said you'll be here the next day or 2 if we were to try that. And then he might be like, let's do it, we'll get a shot, or
You and you might
get out of
get a card.
here. Yeah,
Yeah,
so,
I think this is another area too where it's really easy to become apologetic again. Where if you start getting nervous, if you're not confident, like we need to do it, these 4 services, then like people may give you another objection after you work through this.
yeah,
So it's really important to just like stand your ground and be like, no, like this is how it works. I'm the bug guy. I know more than you. And this is how we're gonna do it. So
yeah, your conviction in like the frequency of visits and stuff is important. Yeah, you can't be apologetic in sales. Like sales is so much about energy and your confidence. So that's really important. So cool. I've got Karter up here with me tonight. Karter was a top 10 rep last year. He's awesome and so qualified. And I'm wanting to just involve some of our awesome leaders. And so he's going to help teach switchovers. He's did a lot of them last summer. So I'll let you do this slide.
yeah, sounds good. So I'll be talking about mindset first. We talk about mindset quite a bit when it comes to sales because it can literally make or break a sale. And it's no different with switchovers. If you have a positive mindset going into an area and there's a lot of companies that have already knocked there or a lot of people have companies, you can either look at it as, oh, well, no one's qualified here because I can't sell any accounts. Everyone has a company. Or you can be like, wow, everyone has a company. So there must be a lot of bugs here where I can sell accounts. So that's the first thing, but like these people are qualified, they are sellable, like these are great accounts to sell. The other thing that's really awesome about switchovers in general is that they are already budgeting for it. So sometimes you may get in the backyard, and maybe you can speak to this too, but you'll get into a backyard and like there'll be a ton of objections with like, oh, what products are you using? Is this going to be safe? I don't have the money for it for the budgeting one. You know, can you come back or can you call me later? Like you're not going to get any of those. Like these people already see the value. You don't really need to talk about value a lot. You can just talk about what makes us different from what they already have. And then people switch all the time. Who here has ever like switched insurance or switched internet, like cell phone providers? Who got here? Like, why did you switch like providers or internets?
I got sold by a door-to-door lady for CenturyLink.
Okay.
And I told her my wife handles it. She overcame that. I got in trouble by my wife. And then, yeah, she told me I'd probably be paying cheaper. It's gonna be like $65 a month. And then I asked Liza, she said it's $65 a month. And, oh, okay, so it's the same price, but it's better. And I was like, okay. And I was just, I was too nice to say no. And then before I know it, the CenturyLink guy was there switching our internet.
Yeah, that's awesome. So was she able to provide more value for you in your mind, and that's why you were able to switch even though the price was the same? Or was she just really nice and you didn't want to say no?
Yeah, I was just too nice to say no. And she even used, like, it was during COVID. I was like, can you just leave me that? She's like, I can't because of COVID. And I fell for it. And yeah, it was a good learning experience for me because some of your sales are probably people that are just too nice to say no. And
Yep.
so, but yeah, she didn't add any extra value. I just was an idiot.
Well, that is true. I think a lot of people are really nice, obviously, in those cases, but there are a lot of times too where you're able to provide enough value or make it a cheaper service where it just makes sense to switch, right? So that's a huge part of it. Like, there's no reason why these people wouldn't switch.
And in pest control, like, with some things, it's complicated to switch.
Yeah.
Like there's product or equipment involved. Pest control, there's not. It's like a people industry, right? So literally the only thing that's switching is the person that's showing up next quarter.
Yeah,
It's
true.
not, there's not, it's
Like
not like
no
an alarm
switching
system where
solar
you're
or
like
something.
pulling equipment out of the house or
Yeah.
dish even or internet where it's like different module or router or whatever. Like there's no equipment involved that complicates it. So it is like one of the easiest things to switch someone from because it's just a different person.
Yeah, 100%. And then the last couple points, I think you have to have a lot of conviction too when you are selling a switchover, because there is a little bit of an intimidation factor. You will knock in areas where people have already knocked through it, or you'll knock a lot of doors where there's already a lot of companies that are in those areas. And so you might become a little bit intimidated, but the thing to remember is there's not anyone in this room that's not going to a market that has incredible ratings for their branches, like 4.9 stars, thousands of reviews, amazing track records, like customers that love them. So like the companies we knock for, they're not bimbos, like they're awesome companies, right? So there's no reason for you to like think that the companies we are selling for aren't the best. So
Yeah, we have, I guess, 3 clients that would be with this year, and all of them have, if you Google any of them, 4.9 stars or more on Google. Tons of customers. They're locally, like they're regionally local to those areas. Like they're the best company in the area. And so like you can have conviction when you're selling against like the Utah door to door, like the Aptives, the Moxies, like those companies are nationwide outfits. Although our marketing company is out of Utah, the service company that you're selling for, their HQ is in that region of the US. So you can kind of play to the like family owned, local, regionally local thing. And that's a huge advantage.
yeah,
So.
100%.
Cool, love it. Next slide is just the idea of like, don't be a robot. So we've talked about this before, but there's kind of 2 pitches that we'll use. You'll either use the discount pitch, which a lot of you guys have learned, right? It's the whole, my trucks are here. If I can pitch in, I can do it for super cheap or for about half off, right? But the other pitch that you'll use a lot is my trucks are here. I'm doing pest control. I was curious who you guys have coming out this year for the pest control, for the bugs. I would be using that pitch, that who do you have coming out this year, a lot. Like regardless of what market you're in this summer. The reason why, and I'm kind of jumping ahead here, but the reason why when you lead with this pitch, with this who do you have coming out to treat your home, is what if they say, I don't have someone? Like, what do you do? If they say, oh yeah, I don't have someone, like what's your next move?
Perfect, my truck's in the area.
Yeah.
If I can fit you in, I can do it.
So you just roll into like our other response. And that progression is really easy because you're not backpedaling at all. It's like, oh, sweet. Well, if you don't have someone, like I'm here, like if I could fit you in, I could do it for super cheap. So that progression from the who treats your home to the discount is really easy. You can still sell accounts by going with the discount, so leading with that and then empathizing, but you're kind of backpedaling at that point. Because when you go, Karter, if I could fit your home in, I could do it for super cheap. And if you say, I have someone, I can still empathize and save it. And when you'll still need to do that sometimes, but it's better to hook, to fish with the right hook in the water, where it's like almost betting that every door has a company. Because then if they don't, then you can be pleasantly surprised and just roll right into your discount pitch. Does that make sense? So I know in a lot of the trainings you've been doing with your managers, we're practicing that discount pitch over and over again. But I want you to start implementing that. Who do you guys have coming out this year to treat your home for the bugs? I want you to start almost like defaulting to that pitch a lot. Because regardless of where you sell, there will be there's companies like pest control it's a competitive industry, and probably 50 to 60% of the doors you knock with someone will say, I have someone. So I would fish with that hook, if that makes sense. Yeah, and then just this last thought is like, so situational selling, maybe if a veteran will just, before we move on, explain to me, not just with switchovers, but just in general, what is situational selling? Like by definition, when you hear that, what do you think? Yeah, Tanner.
It's recognizing your environment and then tailoring it to that person that you're speaking, right? So if I see someone that has a dog and maybe some kids, then I might want to bring up, the fact that we take care of ticks and fleas.
Yeah.
Instead of just going straight to, we take care of all the ants and spiders. Like, they might have that, but they might be a little bit more interested in ticks and fleas because they have young kids, they want to protect the dog. So using things in your environment to help aid you, but it's not necessarily like you're pointing it out specifically to that customer. Same thing with like if there's like a river next by, I'm gonna reference the river. Like near the river, we get a lot of spiders out here. It's pretty normal,
Yeah,
and that shows credibility that you're like a professional that knows the area super well.
love it. So water sources like rivers, lakes, golf courses, like if you know the name of the golf course that their home is on, that can help you. What are some other like situational selling things that you guys might use?
A lot of trees.
Trees. Construction is one, like new construction. They've got like a ton of new homes going in close to their neighborhood. Why would that matter?
Pushes all the bugs.
Pushes the bugs up, gets everything moving. There's usually rodents like mice and stuff. A lot of times if there's mice problems because there's a new build neighborhood close by. So bring that up and you'll sound like a pro, like versus the kid that came last year that just like read a script at their porch. You show up and you're like referencing the new construction neighborhood, just like a cup, and you don't want to overdo this because this can be overdone, but just a little bit of that in your pitch can be really awesome. So, okay, we're gonna move on to, I kind of already did this one, so let's get to just getting into what the pitch sounds like.
Sounds good. So it's just like any other objection. So you're gonna have to have, you're gonna have to have an empathy line. So yeah, totally, it's a great idea to have someone come out. It's really important when you have this empathy line that you don't encourage them to like keep the company that they already have. So it's really easy to be like, oh yeah, you have Aptiv. Yeah, Aptiv's the best. Like that's super smart to have Aptiv come out, right? So you want to be pretty strategic, like totally, it's a great idea to have someone or any company come out, or you'd be crazy not to have pest control in this area.
It's like a neutral compliment.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So that's pretty important. Qualifying, you have two questions, like who treats your home? Obviously, if they haven't already told you, you can ask that. And then how long have they been coming out for you? Why would those be qualifying questions? Like, why would we be asking those two questions? Maybe a better end.
Find out if they're still under contract.
Yeah. You don't want to waste your time if they've had them for like 3 months, right?
Yeah.
So I'm kind of adding in a little bit here, and maybe I shouldn't, but if someone says like, oh yeah, I've had Aptiv for like 6 months, I might ask one more question and then I'll leave. Like, I don't want to spend any more time on the door. I'll usually be like, cool, yeah, like, are you pretty happy with them? Are they taking care of your needs? And if they say no, like sometimes they are still sellable and maybe they'll pay a cancellation fee, but the majority of people won't. So it's important to find out, okay, if they've had them for a year, usually past contracts are a year. So if it's over a year, it's qualified. You can definitely sell. Any thoughts on that? Okay. And then for your tailored response, just so you know, as a transitional phrase, we use that. If you've noticed, we use that in a lot of our objections. So what that sounds like is, yeah, like how long has Aptiv been coming out for you?
I think 2 years,
Okay.
something like that.
Well, I guess just a thought, a lot of the neighbors have been actually switching over to me because I am a local guy in the area. I'm doing it for a lot better value.
Okay.
So just so you know, it bridges the gap between your qualifying questions and the tailored response.
Kind of turns into a messenger.
Yeah.
Because they're like, oh, are you gonna try to sell me?
Yeah.
And when you say the line, just something to think about then, or just the thought like Karter just did, it like lightens the room and it makes it so that like they don't feel like
They're being sold or
it's like,
anything.
cool, well, just a thought then. It's like, oh yeah, I was just sharing like thought, or you're just a messenger. And then you share your tailored response.
Right.
Yeah, I've had people that are like closing the door on me, and I'll say, just so you know, and they can't close the door after they like they have to open it and keep listening, and it just extends the sale. So
Yeah, buys you time.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. And that's the meat of it too, like you want to be able to get this response in. If you don't get the tailored response in, then like, there's no reason for them to even be here anymore. What I do, I don't know what your thoughts are on this, but
Yeah.
close here.
Yeah.
I typically just go to the next line. Do you usually use that close or?
So with the close, main thought that I kind of want us to like approach this with is if they seem really open-minded and they're nodding their head and they're totally biting on like your tailored response.
Yeah.
Then you should try to push for the inspection and yeah, like present.
Cool.
But if they seem pretty closed off and they're just listening to you, there's kind of two paths you can go down here. You can go for the how much, or you can just ask a question that brings you into this portion. Just kind of like that top question there, which is probably what you're referring
Yeah,
to.
that's what I do. I mean, I guess that actually makes sense because it kind of depends on the customer you're dealing with. If somebody seems a little bit more closed off, I don't want to be talking a lot. And if I'm dropping the discount and talking more and more and more, they're gonna just like be shutting it out of their ears. So I like to ask that question to get the ball moving a little bit more. But yeah, I guess that's true. If someone is like just eating up what you're saying,
Then just
like
get
drop
on
the
with it.
discount, yeah.
So the main thought here is like, so you know how on the inspection, there's need, value, urgency. Those are our three ingredients that are like big. On a switchover, you're gonna probably in a lot of cases start your inspection on the porch. So you know how on a inspection, it's like need, value, urgency, you're asking questions of that process. On a switchover, because they feel like their need is already met and the value's already met, you have to kind of get that conversation started on the porch a lot of times if they seem kind of closed off. Does that make sense? So you're gonna do that by transitioning with a question that starts diving into the need. And basically you're gonna have a conversation about what was the need you had when you started with them and is that being met? And you're not gonna ask it yes or no like that. You're gonna kind of like ask why they started and just be watching their body language and how they speak about their company to see if they like them or not, basically, right? And then you're gonna get into, so you're gonna start with need. When I say service here, I would just think of it as value. So need, value, urgency, just like on an inspection, it's the same objectives. I'm trying to find out if their need is being met by the company, what's their company doing as far as like scope of service. And I'm kind of trying to like maybe not talk down on their company, but if I'm trying to kind of maximize what we do versus what they do, right? Because if they switch, they're going to do it because they see more value in what we're doing. So we might do something with our service that they don't, or our reviews might be better online. Like I'm just going to try to minimize their thing and maximize ours and get talking about that. And then comes in the urgency, which is price. You're going to bring that up. So need, value, urgency, it's very similar to just any other sale. Switchovers are the same thing, but that inspection is going to kind of be done on the porch. So we're going to do a couple demos with this. Karter's going to do some. I actually want to do two. And the first one that we do, I want to be like, I'm going to just kind of like confess that I hate my company. And you're going to close. For your close, you're going to go right to the price and try to get me on a formal inspection. And then we're going to do a second one. And I want you guys to watch this one. I might be a little bit more closed off on that one. And instead of going right for the jugular on that one, because that wouldn't be very effective if I feel closed off, he's going to try to open me up with some questions and see if he can gather some info and give himself a chance. Does that make sense, that process? Okay, so we'll do the pitch from the very start.
I'm gonna grab my clipboard actually.
Okay, cool.
Or my iPad. I need something to hold on to.
I'm actually going to start with this. So I want people to see just the top to bottom.
Okay.
So I want you to watch.
Right at the top.
Karter's going to do this, but we're going to start from the very top. But I want you to watch, especially as this picks up. When I give him the objection of I have someone, I want you to watch his body language and how he's relaxed. This empathy with a switchover, a lot of times we'll teach to like drop the clipboard and just really loosen up because we want them to feel like, okay, cool. Like I'm not like, oh, you have someone? Like you have to relax your body language, empathize with them, become a messenger and follow this. So, okay, let's do it. Hey, how's it going?
Good, how are you?
Good. What's up?
I'm gonna be doing a ton of work here on Highland Drive tomorrow. Has anyone stopped by yet to let you know what's going on?
No, what are you doing?
Great, so my truck is gonna be doing the pest control for like 20 homes. Who
Okay.
do you guys have coming out for that?
Yeah, we have that like Aptivia,
Yeah, Active.
Active, yeah.
Absolutely, yeah,
Yeah.
how long have they been doing it for you?
Kid came by like you,
Okay.
maybe 2
cool.
years ago.
Honestly, man, it's a smart idea to have any company come out.
Yeah, it's been a good thing for us.
Yeah, I guess just a thought, I've actually had like 20 of the neighbors switch over from Active, just because I am a local guy, I'm doing it for a much better value.
Yeah, I like local.
Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
we've talked about, I mean, I think they're like out of the West Coast and, I mean, we like the service, but yeah, I'd be interested.
Okay, cool, yeah, I guess since I'm in the area anyway, my truck is actually gonna be doing all these homes while we're here. So if I could fit you in the route, I would do it for like half of that.
What do you charge?
Yeah, what's the square footage of the house?
1,800.
Okay, cool, yeah, I'll just give you a free quote, it takes
That'd
2
be great.
minutes to do like an inspection on the house. Do you have a gate on the left side?
Yeah, you can take a look.
Okay, well, I'll just meet you.
Okay, cool. That was awesome. Let's give him a hand. Okay, so like someone walk me through what just happened, because I know there's a lot here. What just happened and why did he approach it the way that he did?
Gave him on buying something.
Yeah, so because I gave him a buying
To lay
time,
down.
yeah, I was kind of laid down. But because I was like really open-minded, he went right for the trucks and I'm here and I wanna hear you say how much and I'm gonna do an inspection and get you off the porch. What did you guys notice up here though? Like with the empathy and with just all this stuff, like what was it that when did I start to kind of open up as a customer? Yeah,
What you mentioned being local.
yep. His tailored response right here, part of that was because I'm active, because I'm with Active, they're big nationwide, he played the local. And I'm, doing it for an awesome value for a bunch of the neighbors in the area. And I kind of like perked up, right? So because I perked up, then he was right for the close of, cool, if you wanted to try something different out. With switchovers, using phrases like, if you wanted to give me a shot, or if you wanted to try something different out, those can be powerful one-liners with switchovers, because their psychology is like, I'm married to this thing and I'm nervous about switching. But if you use phrases like try us out or give me a shot, it can go a long way. It really like speaks to that inner dialogue that's happening in their head. We're gonna do another one now, and I'm gonna be a little bit more closed off.
Yeah.
And
That's how I like it.
yeah, let's do
Yeah.
it. Let's
I was
get
like,
it.
I was feeling funky here, like, I don't know where.
Why are you so nice?
Yeah.
Okay, so instead, like when he's giving me the tailored response here, as he's listening to me, I'm not gonna be as like biting on it. And so you might not go right for the price, you might go right into the, okay, I'm gonna try to go need value urgency here and figure out what your thing is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
Hey, how's it going?
Good, how are you doing?
Good.
Good, I'm just gonna be doing a lot of work here on Highland Drive. Has anyone stopped by yet to let you know what's going on?
No, I
Yeah,
don't think
great.
so.
Yeah, my truck is actually gonna be doing the pest control for Bill and John and a few of the neighbors.
Yeah,
Who do you guys have doing that?
I got a guy.
Great, yeah, who do you guys use if you don't mind me asking?
Fox.
Yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, how long has Fox been doing it for you?
Maybe like a couple years.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, it's smart to have any company out here. In fact, you'd be crazy if you didn't have a bug guy in this neighborhood.
Yeah, it's been a good thing for us. And
Yeah.
I think we're all set. So.
Yeah, not a problem. I guess just a thought. I am actually a local guy and I've had like 12 of the neighbors actually switch from Fox, Aptiv, Terminex, a lot of the large conglomerate companies.
Yeah.
And it's mainly, I'm a local guy. I'm doing it for a much better value. You mind me asking, what was the main reason you started with Fox?
I think just like
You wanna switch it?
normal ants and just like, yeah, I think my wife was seeing some bugs and, for us, I just don't have a lot of time for it,
Yeah, that
So-
totally makes sense. Were they like inside the house? Were they on the outside?
I
Or
can't remember.
Yeah.
They seem to be doing a decent job. I think ants and I think they do like the spiders and that one comes by a couple times a year,
Sure. I'm sure, yeah, that totally makes sense. When they come out, I know that they kind of just like squirt around the outside of the house. Is that how they typically?
Yeah, they do the outside and then he takes the brush to the eaves, things like that.
Cool. Yeah, I guess just a thought with that, I do a much more professional service when it comes to the outside of the house.
Yeah,
So instead of just squirting around the outside foundation, I do a 3 foot by 3 foot barrier treatment around the whole house. And then I'll also treat like your windows, your doors, all the cracks and crevices.
yeah.
So that's actually something that Bill and John and a lot of the neighbors have noticed that makes a difference.
Mhm.
But anyway, if I could earn your business as a local guy, if you wanted to try me out,
Mhm.
I could do your place for like half the normal price.
Yeah, I mean, it does sound like, more thorough, what, money for us is the big thing,
Yeah.
so I would
absolutely.
wanna know what the number is on that.
Sure, you know the square footage of the house is here?
I think it's like 3,800.
Great, yeah, I can give you a free quote on it, take
Yeah,
2 minutes to
give us
do like
that.
an inspection. You have a gate
Sure.
around back or anything?
There's no gate.
Yeah, I'll just meet you out back then.
Okay, that sounds fine.
Yeah.
Good, that was awesome. Okay, what'd you guys like? What were the takeaways from that? Yeah. So like, sales is, again, energy, confidence, and hard work, like, and his energy feels calm, like he's done this for a zillion years, just calm, right? And like not flustered when I'm hitting him with like objections. And confidence, yeah, unfazed is awesome, his demeanor's great. What else?
He stayed in control.
Yeah.
Like he never took a step back. He was always
Yep,
moving forward.
and he's able to do that because he knows his flow, like he knows this, like, okay, switch over, gotta empathize first, gotta ask some questions to find out if they're even worth my time. Now I gotta share a thought that like tries to open them up and it's gonna help them see that like they should continue to listen to me. And in his case, he shared that thought, it was awesome. I wasn't like jumping on it, but it was like enough to keep the door open. He asked a question, and that's just, that's sales. Like this right here is, it gives you a chance, and then the conversation comes in. Like, well, what do you do? Like, why should I spend my money with you instead of my current thing? And that's where, again, it's just like any other object or inspection. It's need, value, urgency, and you're trying to find out what need you can solve that they don't have not right now, or what we do with our service that they don't have going. And then at the end, you've got to loop it back to the price. So it's always, people are, they want to hear what you got on that front. So you loop it back to that, which is how you get to your whole, the discount portion, right? So to summarize this, last thought again is like using lines on this price thing of like, if you wanted to try us out or give me a shot, Karter used those lines, and that's why that sounded really comfortable for me on that, at that point. But any other takeaways from just this switchover training tonight? Just that out? Yeah.
One thing that stood out to me was where he's talking about how active, like, when they squirt around, and then talk about our service, we do 3 foot by 3 foot to barrier. Like,
Yeah.
ours is more coverage, we do more, better protection.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a principle in sales, minimizing and maximizing. And you want the customer to feel like what we're doing is like adding to what they have. And you can get away with like, you don't want to like offend someone on what they have. You can go too hard on that in the paint, where you're like, dude, they do a good job, like quit talking poorly. You don't want to talk poorly about their company, you just want to maximize ours, It's like running into I don't know, like a Catholic on the mission or something. Like, got something awesome, man.
The
But,
J-Dub,
yeah.
honestly, yeah.
So, similar, like just add, we just want to add to your thing, and we want it to be competitive with price. You just finish with that price thing at the end. But yeah, good thoughts.
I think one other thought too, just like this objection, it seems really intimidating because it's probably like twice as long, maybe longer than like a normal objection that we would overcome. But any like veteran that has sold really well, that's had like high success, will tell you, like, at least for me, half of my sales last year were switchovers. So if you want to make a lot of money this summer, like learn this right now.
Yeah.
Because like you're gonna be leaving money on the table if you don't. So anyway, that's just
Yeah,
a
100%.
piece of advice.
I think finishing with this is just like practice this. I promise you, if you're casual with practicing switchovers, you will make casual money this summer. You'll sell the low hanging fruit grandma that has ants in her kitchen, and you'll get one sale a day. And that is still like pretty good money, but if you wanna make really good money, you need to sell some of these like, yeah, I have someone. And then like you open them up and use this process to get some of those types of sales. You can make really amazing money by creating sales, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 sales a day, like some of our top reps do, by creating sales with a person like this. So switchovers will be some of your easiest sales of the summer if you learn this framework, because again, they've already budgeted for it. They understand the need, and like you're literally just changing trucks for them. There's no other, it's just so easy, right? They will also be some of your hardest sales of the summer, to Carter's point. And so if you want to sell a lot, there will be some neighborhoods where like a lot of the doors have someone, and you need to learn this conversation to sell consistently. So any questions from tonight, just like from this training that stood out, or things that you guys wanted clarification on? Yeah.
So what if you knock the door and they're like, oh, I have some, you ask who, and it's some, and I don't know if that's something out there, but like some
Yeah.
mom and pop, like,
Yeah.
where it's not like a big corp. They
Yes.
are local.
Yes.
So all your points just like got the.
Okay, so that is, thank you for asking that. Because there will be some markets, honestly, we're in some markets like that are not overrun with like big companies that you can play the local thing on. And if the local thing is your only tailored response, you're gonna get beat up in those cities, because like they're like, dude, we have Joe's Pest Control. He's as local as it gets. Like he comes to our family parties and stuff. You know, like, so you're not local. Like where are you from again? You're from Utah, and you're not even local. So that can't be your only tailored response. So tailored response, the key word there is tailored. And so if it's local, you got to know that it's a local guy, and so you have to find. And a lot of the reason we do these correlation meetings in the morning is to team up as a team and brainstorm. Like, hey, I ran into Joe's Pest Control yesterday. He's as local as they come, but like, what are you guys seeing with him? Like maybe he charges a ton. Maybe he only comes twice a year. And so there's this big gap in service where he's not creating value for customers. Maybe he doesn't do like, you'd be surprised, like Joe might just do the ants around the base, like
just sprays or something.
like he doesn't knock down webs. And so there's patterns that you'll find as a team. So if I say, Carter, I have Joe's Pest Control, what might be your objection? If, let's say Joe, in correlation that morning, we talked about how Joe doesn't do the webs.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, so I have Joe, and I
Cool.
really like him.
Yeah, how long have you guys had him for?
Couple years.
Cool. Yeah, honestly, it's super smart to have anybody come out, especially around here. I guess just the thoughts. I've actually had a few people switch over from Joe, just because he does do like the spraying around the outside of the house, but he's not able to reach up around the house, around the cracks and crevices, around the roof line. And a lot of the neighbors that get like the webs up in their house, like you, like they've really appreciated that
we have noticed that, especially in the fall, our lights get pretty webby. You include that in like your general thing?
Yeah, absolutely. Is that typically what you see is like spiders?
Yeah, we get that.
Okay.
I don't know if he does that, but if you do that, I would take a quote.
Okay, yeah, I can do a free quote.
Okay, cool. So yeah, really good question, and you just gotta keep it tailored. What else? Yeah.
I just want to highlight something, maybe explain a little bit too, but Carter's like, yeah, we had a lot of people from Joe switch over. Right, and I get a lot of rookies that will ask like, well, I've never switched anybody over from Joe, like, how can I say that? Well, you are speaking on behalf of the company.
Yeah.
Right? So, for Pointe, right? And I promise you, every single company out there in those markets we're going to, someone at Pointe has switched that person over. And so you can confidently and honestly say, we've had people switch from Joe's working with us, X, Y, and Z.
Yeah, also Slack in summer is how we communicate as a team. And anytime you get a sale, you're posting on Slack, hey, I just sold one from Joe's Pest Control. So, and you might be 2 blocks away from me. So with conviction, I can be like, yeah, well, just so you know, I've had quite a few people jumping on board with us from Joe's. The reason why is go tailored response, But yeah, Slack is another place where you can go get confidence that like we have momentum as a team. Like most of our teams will be 20 to 30 reps in a zip code, and every 5, 10, 20 minutes, it's like, boom, just sold one from this company, that company. And so all day long, you're kind of checking that and seeing like, man, we're kind of dominating active today or whatever company. So you could be really confident with certain companies or So that's kind of the fun part about the team aspect, right? Like this is an individual sport, but there's a team piece to it too. And the better your team is, the more kind of momentum you can get in a neighborhood and more knowledge and stuff. So it's fun. It's really fun in that regard. Like a bunch of Vikings going to take over. So. Okay, any last questions? Yeah, what?
So like, I feel like the biggest part of this is like building confidence in the buyer and their decision in buying.
Yeah.
Is there like more ways? Cause like what he's saying is like you're stupid for going with Apple. Like they're not a good company, right?
Yeah.
It's like, no, it's smart to get pest control, like
Yep.
building confidence in them.
Yes.
Is there more ways to do that than just that?
That's a really good takeaway. That's why we do the empathy is if you don't empathize on a switchover, the door's shut. Like every time, even if they hate their company, like you have to make them feel like that was smart to get pest control. That's awesome out here. Other ways to do that. I don't know. What, any thoughts from veterans on that? Like what are other ways to, is your question essentially like
Build confidence in
the decision
the
they
decision
made?
making of the customer, because that's what I feel like that's what this.
Yeah.
I think that's what the framework does already.
Yeah.
Like the framework is set up where you almost become like an ally with them against the bugs. It's like, okay, I know that you have a company, but like now we're gonna transition from, I don't care that you have a company. I'm gonna be talking about the fact that you have these bugs that I can offer more value for. So you'd be surprised, but like you said, like the flow of this whole objection is really well set up, like stick to it, it works really well.
And then there's a big difference between empathizing and validating. And that was the point that Karter made is if I say, oh, that's awesome, Joe seems like an awesome guy. He has like a ton of customers in here. It's like, you know, they're like, yeah, we love
Made a
it.
great
Yeah,
decision.
yeah, we are superior. You know, but empathizing is like, that's awesome. It's smart to have someone out here, you know, with where you live for sure. Do you mind me asking who does it? And then I'm gonna move forward, you know? So empathy, not validation.
There was literally there's a lady last year who her best friend did her pest control. And I switched her over. Like the flow works, like grew up with him for 20 years. Like I kind of felt bad, but like it works, like it just does. So you can provide more value for people and people see that and that's why they switch.
Love it. Any last questions? Anything else that would be helpful? Okay, practice this. This will make you a lot of money if you can get this skill set down. And we'll see you again here next week. Next week, it will be, I promise you, it will be awesome. Like you will love, you'll leave this meeting next week on fire. Excited to become more mentally tough. Gabe's awesome and he's gonna give an awesome training next week. So anyway, love you guys. Thanks for coming. See you soon.